Hi everyone, welcome back. So, after last week, this week, on the Real Housewives of Lagos, the girls are still in Ghana. This Ghana experience is long but quite okay. Um, I don't know today's one. I just finished watching it. I'm still laughing at Diola's moves today. Like to me, Diola came up like a comic relief. She was angry, but if this is how Diola's anger looks like, then it's cute. Let's see more of her angry face on the show, please, Diola. You're so cute, angry. And I don't know. There's something about Diola. She's very look watching her on the screen though. She looks like someone that will be very difficult for you to dislike. Honestly, she just has this beautiful personality. But that's by the way. So these girls today they were talking to each other again. From the preview that we saw last week, let me just go straight to the point. Actually, they had dinner and that it looks like that other whatever they were supposed to have hangout flopped because of the squabble between Dabota and Caroline. So today's own was dinner. Although prior to then, Sophia, of course, what took her there is her fashion launch of her fashion clothes and all of that. So she was making arrangements here and there. And the fact that she's just calm and she's in her element, like I admire Sophia. I thought that this whole chaos was going to interrupt or it was going to interject with her plans, but it's moving smoothly. Although these are plans that she has made long ago, obviously. Yeah, so I don't think the girls' dramas were going to do the dramas from the ladies actually was going to do that so much like that. So she met up with Jocelyn Dunamis. Got a bit Dunamis. That lady is a queen. Let me use Sophia's word. I have always liked that girl. Ah, you guys seen her body? So the whole thing, Sophia just putting everything together, and it was quite cute. So when they now ended up in that dinner, um, Caroline was the last to show up. I think Laura was the first, if I'm not mistaken. Then that, right? Honestly, I can't remember the list of how they came in, but I just remember that Caroline was the last. I even thought she was not going to come because they had already started the food testing before she eventually walked in white, lady in white. They all looked so gorgeous, by the way. They all looked so good. Like at this point, I'm seeing Real Housewives of Lagos. They're not they everything, makeup on point, snatch hair, everything. So this conversation started again. This time around, it was Sophia that was trying to just make peace between Caroline and Dabota. And honestly, watching today's episode to me makes more sense. In the real sense of the word, Caroline and Dabota do not really have any personal issues per se. Is more of the clique or whoever Dabota has been with. And in a way, we all will feel the same way. Let's just be realistic here. In as much as I noticed Caroline is, I think she's an emotional being. Like everyone is an emotional being, but I think there are some things Caroline has held on to for so long, and it's so unfortunate that she is unwinding them. Excuse me, in front of the camera. She's pained. Looks like Ehi, which happens to be Dabota's very good friend, has really hurt Caroline in the past. So many aspects of life. She has really hurt Caroline. And it's so unfortunate that Dabota is friends with Ehi, and Dabota does not owe Caroline any loyalty, to be very clear. But it's just with from the explanation of Caroline, because I can't be Caroline and I don't know how she feels, but from her words of explanation that we're listening to, is like, when you see a friend of your enemy, you might mistake that friend of your enemy for your enemy as well. So I think that is what Caroline is battling with. Personally, she doesn't have issues with Dabota, maybe, but looking at the fact that Dabota is really good friends, very, very good friends with, I don't, let's say, someone that has really hurt her in the past. So it's almost like Dabota is getting the taste of a medicine that might not necessarily be meant for her. And Dabota is not even making things easy because she herself too, she has her own attitude that has in her package comes with a certain attitude as well. That, but there was something I noticed when they were all set out for dinner, and by the way, the place is so cute. See, these guys I even find it difficult to fault Sophia's hosting. Like, Sophia has humbled all of these ladies. Don't worry yourself. She has humbled them. And they got talking like on the table again. Sophia brought up the issue again after she brought up this first time, but this time around, I was glad that Sophia brought it this time around again, and I was glad to see Caroline walked out. To me, Caroline walking out was rude, quite okay to the other ladies, but it was safer. Yes, it was safer. I would do that if I want to maintain my peace. I don't want to say things that will end up regretting. Yeah, I will walk out. Even though I'm not, I might. I do that a lot. I've done that even some few weeks ago. I would walk out. Yes, it seems rude, it seems condescending to the others, but for peace to reign, I rather walk out. Now, this is the part where I didn't get the back and forth again, because at the end of the day, for me, is Dadem taking over the beef again. It's like Dadem desperately wants to have beef with Caroline. Like, she I don't know. And do you know the annoying part that I just hope Dadem will eventually see through the whole thing? Is the fact that the moment Dadem steps in to start fighting on behalf of Dabota will just be mute, looking like, go ahead. Like, see, there's something I don't understand. And Dabota will now look disconnected. Like, she doesn't, for me, when somebody is fighting your battles for you, you should also be able to, like, be on their side. I don't know if I'm trying to say to you. But Dabota now staying out of it, like, I don't know, in future that, but I might end up telling Dadem, I never asked you to fight for me. Like, I don't know, things like this, they are a bit weird. That Dadem was literally venting out to Caroline, and Caroline was just looking at her because it was even strange, it was weird. And here's the reason why later on, when Dadem and Laura got an opportunity to speak by the poolside, Laura sort of made a little bit of correction, because Dadem has entangled herself in the beef between Dabota and Caroline. And I wish Dadem wouldn't do that, or didn't do that, because if you look at the beef between Caroline and Dabota, those two people are meant to just solve their things by themselves. And you could tell that the two of them are not hating on each other. If you ask me, from what I saw on my screen, Dabota on that dinner table actually wanted to have a conversation with Caroline. Forget her packaging, her attitude, but you could see, because when Caroline walked out, you could see she made a statement of, we're adults, we're grown adults, so we should be able to, like, you could see, yeah, she was open to a conversation. Come on, the ambience that Sophia offered them is not an ambience of trouble, it's an ambience for peace. So you could see she wanted to, but I don't know, Caroline was so much in her feelings and she walked out and all of that, And so when the next scene that was shown, is it the next scene or so? But I'm just trying to pick up where there's something to actually say, because the other scenes are just more of the organizing of the show and all of that, meeting that, so there's really nothing much to say. So eventually Laura and Dadem finally had a little moment together by the poolside. That house that Sophia dropped them, that house is so divine. Whose house is that? So eventually, Dadem coming in with so much energy, like so much, like, say, angry. Although she said she wasn't angry, right? But you could tell there was that fighting energy in her still. So Laura said something to her. Laura was like, look, she equally made mistake with Caroline. That Caroline is not a bad person. Yeah, she said she equally made mistakes with Caroline, and she's advising Dadem to try to know Caroline for herself. That is literally trying to tell her that don't step in for someone else's beef. Don't inherit someone else's beef, right? Get to know this person. And indirectly, Caroline made a certain statement on the dinner table. That was before she stepped out, that I won't tell you who is good for you and I won't tell you who is bad for you. Just try to get to know people on their own, right? And Caroline is trying to like try to prepare, like trying to make it clear to them that I don't have issues with you, right? Even after the whole dinner beef and all of that, that was before. I'm sorry for being a bit scattered. That was before Laura and them had the conversation by the poolside. I think Miriam after the dinner followed Caroline, and honestly, Miriam has been doing a good job of being a shoulder to lean on for Caroline to be able to vent, right? And so she spoke, and that was when Caroline said it wasn't about Dabota, it was about who Dabota was with. That this person wanted to take food out of her mouth, this person wanted to really cripple her, and that was when it became very clear, right? So now I understand why even Dabota looks relaxed. It's not like she has any animosity towards Caroline and all of that. So it's fine. Caroline said at the beginning when she saw her, she wanted to come up she wanted to put out a negative energy. But when she realized that personally, she and this lady have not really had like an intense issue that they cannot speak about. So hence the reason why she held on to any animosity and decided to be cool with her. But when this person that she didn't like came into the scene, that was where Caroline got triggered. Yeah. So it's just like what Dabota herself said to Laura. Yeah, based on her history with Laura's sister Linda AKG, she said when she sees Laura, she gets triggered. It's understandable. So when eventually Laura finally had an opportunity to speak with Dadem, she told Dadem that look, Caroline has not said anything about you, but like Caroline has not said any negative thing aside from that 2005 bouncer, which for me is not necessarily an insult. Sometimes there's an insult and there's banter. And when a situation is bad or when there's a negative vibe between individuals, a banter ends up looking like an insult. For me, Caroline calling Dadem a 2,500 naira bouncer was more of a banter. Yes, just in a conversation. It was more of a, and I was glad that Caroline made it very clear that at the beginning she mistook Dadem for somebody else, but later she now realized that Dadem was the kind of person that when she likes you, her loyalty is intense, and her loyalty puts her at a place where she's almost like putting herself out for drags when it's not necessary. I wish that honestly in that statement, I think lean towards Caroline. I agree with Caroline that them should try to own up her personality. She has a very strong personality to begin with. Yeah. So Laura told her that you get to know Caroline for yourself. Caroline is not a bad person. Caroline is not your enemy. Caroline is not someone you need to calm down to. You understand her. You get. So that was it then. Moving on to the private fashion show that it was so cute that Sophia organized for the girls, and all of them had piece, the Adire piece, very nice. And the fact that Sophia's fashion is very, very relatable. Like the gown that Caroline shouted, I want this, Sophia. Even me, where I was seated, I was like, yes, I want this too. Like her fashion pieces were very relatable. Yeah, they were African pieces, obviously carrying our identity, and they were so relatable. The fact that all of the girls also wore her design was awesome. Was very, very awesome. Jocelyn was there. There was, in fact, see, Sophia just is an amazing host. Like I said in my other video, if Sophia hosts me, even if I'm eating, I'll drop my food and rush and join the train. She's a very good host, to be honest. She's a very, very awesome host. And during the private fashion show also, all of the ladies, they kind of vibe. Okay, prior to that, I'm sorry I missed out on this. How did I miss out on this? Okay, there was a fun play that Sophia organized. There was a competition. It was more like a shooting game, and it was awesome. Initially, Caroline was just coming up with some attitude. I'm like, Caroline, what is it now? But later on, she kind of loosened up. I don't know what she thought about. Maybe she felt that, look, this is an opportunity that she wouldn't want to miss out on. Initially said she didn't want to be part of the game. It was all of this paint shooting or so like that. And eventually Sophia, Laura, and Caroline won. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was so good to watch. And then at the end of the private fashion show, well, why towards the ending, I would say, when Jocelyn, right? Is that her name? Sorry, the Ghanaian actress. Jocelyn. I remember the name at the beginning. Why am I forgetting now? But then she and Caroline had met before as actresses. They have worked before, and then she was also complimenting Dabuta's makeup line. She said Dabuta's highlighter was one of her best. So Caroline was also telling Jocelyn, yeah, Jocelyn, that Diadem equally has a very successful makeup line, and Diadem was so funny. Like, there was that, did I send you? But at the end of the day, there was that appreciation and all of that. So basically, that was how it ended. There wasn't violence, and that was very, very okay. But then it looks like the next episode there was going to be violence, because violence this time around from Miriam. We don't know what, but let's just wait and see what happens next week. Thank you so much for watching. If you watch this point, I really appreciate. Subscribe. What are you waiting for? Give the video a thumbs up and drop in the comment section. You guys, let's have a proper conversation now. And my analysis is so spot on that nobody's arguing with me, or nobody's disagreeing with me, or nobody's trying to add on top of what I have already said. Is welcome. The comment section is open. I didn't close it. Thank you so much, and see you soon. Bye.